information if you're interested. I pray that you have a blessed day today. And as I say every once in a while, and I know you're going to have to get used to me, sometimes I just say, does anybody have any questions about anything? So I know you're probably like, oh, we're not ready to ask questions, but think about something. Does anybody have any questions about anything in the church? Because if I start asking you a question, are you going to have the answer if you don't have any questions? So let me just tell you this. Okay, so Orthodox churches, you may or may not know this, face east. This might seem remedial for some, but we face east. And the reason we face east, even the priest faces east, is because this is considered the ship, the boat. You're all in the boat together, and we're all going the same way. And the captain of a ship does not face the opposite direction. He faces the direction that the ship is going. And we are all aiming east because, as Christ said, when he comes back the second time, he will come from the east, and it will be the sunrise that never sets. So it'll be the day that never ends. So we face east in anticipation of that sunrise, of that second coming of Christ. And that is why most churches, if they're able to, face east, which is also the reason, and I know this might be less known, when we go to funerals and you go to the luncheon, everybody wants chicken, but fish is served, right? It doesn't matter if it's a Wednesday or Friday, it's always fish. And people say all the time, why is there fish served? And why can't we have chicken or steak or whatever? The fish is served because Christ came to his disciples after the resurrection, and he said, do you have any fish? And he said, they offered him the fish, and then he ate it in front of them, and then they recognized him. So too, likewise, in the funeral service at the luncheon, we eat fish in anticipation of the resurrection, of Christ coming back and asking us, do you have any fish? So that he can eat with us, and then we recognize him and he will come back again. So a lot of the things in the church, just so you understand, are focused on the next life. Everything is focused on the next life. Even the dome is focused on the next life. We come forward to look up. And in many churches, this is a cruciform church, but in many churches, the dome is very narrow and it goes up like tubular, so that you cannot see the dome until you come here or you come here. Usually the dome is kind of pushed back a little bit. But the only way you could see Christ in the dome was you had to come forward to receive communion. And that was part of the understanding, is you came forward to embrace God, and then in coming you could look up and truly see that you are in the presence of God and you are coming in and approaching the kingdom of heaven. So these are the types of questions that I encourage you to ask. When I say, does anybody have any questions, you can ask me. Why is the carpet red? Or why do we face east? Or whatever those things are. But I want you to start thinking about them, because it's important to understand why we're doing what we're doing, because if we don't know what we're doing, we're not going to be doing it for very long. And our kids and grandkids and the future generations are going to be like, yeah, well, I don't know. What do we do our cross 3 times? Do we prostrate in front of the icons? Do we, what's the story? So think of those questions. With that being said, does anybody have any questions? Yes, thank you. Okay, so she said, who's in the dome is a short version of what you just said. Who's in the dome? In Renaissance iconography, there was a change from the austerity of Byzantine iconography, which focused on the exaggeration of features. So if you see, you don't really have, sometimes you'll see the saints, and you'll see in Byzantine iconography, you'll see the saints, their heads are protruding in the front, and they have like a line. It almost looks like they have like a tumor on their head. And that was to depict wisdom. Sometimes their fingers were elongated to show fasting. The nose, even the nose of the Virgin Mary, is to depict the area that she came from, but it's exaggerated. There's different things that in Byzantine iconography that are symbolic, like the colors even, the blue and the red and the blue. So blue is humanity, red is divinity. The Virgin Mary was human, clothed with divine. Christ was divine, clothed with humanity. So that's why it's reversed. So in Renaissance iconography, there was liberties taken to make more realistic iconography, or realistic paintings, like this one here, like the one in the back, and it's more the softness and more of a relatable icon or painting to show, to get to us in a way that's very, in a sense, worldly, but not common. So what do I mean by that? Is I mean that it was shown to, drawn to show softness, or it was drawn to show expressions on faces that was beyond what Byzantine iconography depicts. So Byzantine iconography, everyone is pretty much somber in most of the icons. Even when they're rejecting Christ in the resurrection icon, they have no expression on their face. It's somber faces. Where in other icons you can see, even inside in the nativity icon, you can see expressions of joy, sadness, all those things. Even the crucifixion behind the altar table, you can see the pain on the Virgin Mary's face, where in Byzantine you don't. So what am I getting at now with the dome? The dome in Renaissance iconography, the Holy Trinity is always complicated to explain, right? It's, how do you explain the Holy Trinity? People say, well, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. How do you explain that? Well, St. Spiridon said it's a brick. And the brick, he said, in the name of the Father, fire shot out of the brick. He said, in the name of the Son, water was dripping. He said, in the name of the Holy Spirit, and he had clay in his hand. But visually, for people to understand, they understood the Holy Trinity as an old man, a young man, and a bird, a dove. So who's in the dome is God the Father in the dome. Many times, God the Father has an icon that's triangular. It's not round. Or did I say icon? He has a halo that is triangular and not round to depict that. So sometimes you'll see an icon with an old man with a triangular halo, a younger man who's Christ with a round one, with the sometimes with the on in there and the halo, the cross, and then you'll see the dove there. So it's really a Renaissance understanding of God the Father looking down from us. But to understand, there is no personification in human flesh of God the Father. That doesn't mean, we need to go rip it down, but it's just to understand that God the Father never took on human flesh. But why was that done? Was for people to understand that God the Father is the Father. But if you say God the Father is light, which he is, he's defined as light, it's very difficult to depict in iconography light. So the Orthodox iconography of the Holy Trinity, instead of having the old man, the young man, and the dove, was the hospitality of Abraham, where Abraham and Sarah in the Old Testament are sitting there and they have 3 angels come to them and they offer them food. And it's the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit that were present in the same place at the same time in biblical history, and it was depicted in this icon. So sometimes you'll see 3 angels sitting at a table, and you'll see one particular angel has the blue and the red, just like Christ does in the icon. So it's God the Father. And that icon is the all-reigning icon, the Pantocrator, the one above all that reigns over. So that's why he's always looking down. And some of the icons too, you'll notice that when Christ is there, as he's looking down, his vestments go out like this, and he doesn't end inside the circle. So he's completely contained in the circle, in the top. But sometimes you'll see that the vestments go out on an angle to show that God is not contained in one space. He is over all, and the rest of God is on the outside of the dome and in the rest of the church. Okay? Did you wake up this morning saying, I got a question about the dome? So it's a beautiful dome. I mean, the church you're so blessed to have grown up with this. For those who have grown up here, it's extraordinary. And I never see... That's my cue. Shut up, right? Let's go. All right, well, anyways, I pray that you have a blessed day. Any more questions? Everybody wants to go. I think Yanni's hitting the bells on me. It's like the gong show, right? You get out, you're done. So I pray that you have a blessed day.